Today, Ken Thomas speaks with current ATP player and former University of Michigan great Jason Jung. If you like the podcast, please click on the like thumb and subscribe to get the upcoming podcasts. Now, here is Ken and Jason.
Do a real quick generic Wikipedia setup here for Jason. Jason is from this area. By the way, we're coming to you live from the West End Tennis Club, a place that is both dear to our hearts here. This is where he was raised, basically, in Torrance, California. But here's a little bit on Jason. From Torrance, California, played college tennis at University of Michigan. When he was there, he won the ITA Arthur Ashe Award. One of the best players ever to go through the University of Michigan. He's has played both Davis Cup for he's played for Chinese Taipei. He's hit, bottom line, let's just cut right to it. He's hit 114 in the world. Jason Jung, man. Jason Jung, so congratulations on your career.
It's been a long journey, but it's still going, so excited about that.
Let's start in the beginning. Tell us a little about right here, Torrance.
I grew up here and I started playing here when I was, I think, 7 years old, and hit with almost all the members that came through this club, and this is where my foundation comes from.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Who started you? Is it your dad? Is that what I read? Your dad started you?
My dad started taking me out. Well, actually, my older brother, who's almost 6 years older than I am, my dad had an interest in tennis and took my brother out and gave him some lessons and took from some teaching pros in the area. And, for my brother would get 50 minutes out of the hour, and then he would let me have the last 10 minutes. So that's how I started. And
10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It started just with an interest.
So then, how old were you when you started?
I'd say I was 4 when I picked up the first racket.
4.
Yeah.
And so you were playing Southern Cal 12 and unders, and what were you playing when you started to play?
Yeah, they actually had one here in the South Bay. The one it's called Woody Hunt now, I think.
Yeah.
But they had an 8 and unders at the time.
They had an 8 and under.
They had an 8 and unders. Yeah, it was very rare to have one, an 8 and unders. But I played that, and I played a bunch of novice tournaments. So. Worse than a satellite. That's where I started. Yeah.
Novice.
Yes.
Novice. All right, so there you are. You're moving up, right? You're 12. And then when does it start to when are you getting, highly ranked in Southern California? How does that go for you? How old are you then?
Actually, I won the 10 sectionals. So, it's really hard to tell if you're good or not. But, if you're winning 10 sectionals, then all the juniors think you're good, and then you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember too much, but my dad has always told me, probably around 12, kind of just started to see that I had a passion for it, and I was getting pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So we just kept working harder and harder and playing almost every day and tournaments on weekends.
Yeah, right here. Who else helped you? Your father and... who else was working on your game then?
So when I was coming here, there was a coach, Paulo Alipio.
Yeah.
And he was primarily the guy that I went to maybe once or twice a week, and then most of the time was with my dad. And later on in my junior career, I had Dan Johnston, who was right here as well.
Those are two good guys, man.
Yeah.
So there you are. Okay, let's move it up. 14s. Let's do 14s. Where are you in the 14s? How's things going in the 14s?
14s, I was usually about top 10 SoCal.
Yeah.
I started to play, from the 12s, I started to play some of those super national tournaments, and with the 14s, started to play more nationals, travel to Texas or, travel to within the U.S., just trying to build a little bit more. Before that was primarily just in SoCal, so just trying to expand a little bit more.
In 16s?
Yeah, 16s, same Super Nationals, Kalamazoo.
Let's talk about that. So your first year, under 16. You what? 15? Were you 15?
No, I think I was 14.
14.
Yeah, I only played 1 year at Kalamazoo at
Really?
16s. Yeah, the rest of the years I played 18. So I tried to play up after. I think once I turned 14, I started to play up more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't focus too much on the 16s.
What was your first as a 14-year-old? What was your impressions of Kalamazoo?
I thought it was it was an amazing tournament. There's just a lot of history there.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now, but
yeah.
There's just so many great players who have won it, and they say that if you win the 16s, you get a wild card at the Junior U.S. Open, and the 18s, the main draw.
Yeah.
So, obviously, all the juniors are eyeing that. So, that was a big dream at the time.
Yeah. And then I saw you play there once. I saw you play.
Oh, really?
I actually saw you play. You played. I hate to say it. I saw you lose, but you played a kid who went to Texas. You played him. The 3 rolls of courts at Stowe right there. You were on the closest one.
Huh.
Who'd you lose to at the zoo? Do you remember who you lost to?
I remember. Was it Kellen D'Amico or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah. But I saw you play there, man. Just as a,
Yeah, there's one match that was really crazy. I played this guy, Nikita Kravonis, I think.
Yeah.
And it was the year that they had this documentary going on. And there was like 8 guys, and they followed Donald Young. They followed a couple other big guys, but they just had a camera crew following these guys. And the guy I played, they had a camera crew on him. And we were playing and battling, and it started raining. And we went indoors.
At K College?
I think so.
Yeah.
And both of us, we moved indoors for the third set. Both of us were cramping after the second set. Like, we're both side by side in this locker room cramping. And then we have to go to the indoor site, and the camera crews are all on us. So it's like, that's probably the most memorable Kalamazoo story I have.
Oh, it's wild, man, Kalamazoo. But you must have been, you end up at University of Michigan, so your national ranking must have been pretty good when you were like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, I was a, what do you call it, blue chip recruit, and I think I was number 1 at one point. And,
wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be high up, so, the recruiting process was pretty easy for me.
Where else were you looking at besides Ann Arbor? Anything else pop?
Actually, I don't know if a lot of people know this story, but I signed with Virginia.
Oh.
So my intention was to go in January for the, I guess you'd call it spring or winter semester.
Yeah.
So I intentionally finished high school a semester early. And I wanted to go to college, and I signed with Virginia, and some things didn't work out with the scholarship, and eventually I backed out, and that whole time that I thought I was going to go to college, I just stayed home and trained and traveled a little bit more, played some men's opens, and then went to Michigan eventually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Besides Michigan, anything else you were thinking? Was that
UCLA. Yeah. It was very close to home, so I knew Billy at the time, and I knew they were really good. It's just at the time I really wanted to see something else besides California.
Yeah, I understand. I jumped to college, but did you play high school tennis right here?
I did. I played at West Torrance.
Which is, for our listeners out there, is about, a mile?
Yeah.
If that, from where we're at. And did you play, was it CIF? Did you play state? Did you play,
I did.
Ojai and all that stuff?
I won Ojai one year.
You won Ojai.
I did not win CIF. They're different.
Yeah.
I don't know how they.
Yeah.
But Ojai is like CIF, but there's also another CIF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won Ojai, though.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so there you are. Are you hearing me okay, too? Is the sound okay? Okay. So there you are. You go to Michigan. Let's talk about that. How was your freshman year there?
Well, in the fall, I did really well. I won, it's called the Big Ten.
Indoors,
yeah. Kind of like an individual tournament.
Yeah, I remember that when you won that.
And I beat the number one player on our team at the time. So, I mean, that was just like, he was a senior.
Yeah.
And, incoming freshman, and just super excited about the season. And I started out at 1 when the season started.
As a freshman.
As a freshman.
Yeah.
And, I won a couple matches, but, it ended up being tougher than I thought. I lost a couple matches, and then confidence started to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
And, started to play 2, and then I switched between 2 and 3. So it was a lot harder than I thought. I mean, I thought I was going to come in and do really well, and maybe my expectations were a little bit too high, but it was it evened out a little bit.
Well, you're going in there too. You're playing great teams. Michigan's playing great teams week in and week out. All right, so you start out 1, and then you fade to like 3 a little bit, right?
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
And how was the team? How did the team do that year?
Actually, my first year there, that was the best that we ever did at NCAAs. We made Sweet 16.
Nice. Who was on that team?
We had our number one player was from Croatia, Matko Merovic. He didn't play professional after, but he was a really good player. And I played doubles with a guy, Mike Straczynski. He did not play pro either. So actually, all the guys that I played with the first year, only one guy has played professional.
Who was that?
Peter Arts.
How about Evans?
Evan King. So he came 2 years after. So my junior year, he was a freshman.
So he was on your team?
He was on my team, yeah.
Wow, that's a nice team, man. That's a nice team. And then you make all Big Ten, I read, twice, correct?
Yeah.
Way to go on that, man. And then how did NCAAs go for you? How did that whole?
Yeah, actually, my first 2 years, I did not make the tournament, the individual tournament, and I was pretty bummed about that. Obviously, I wanted my team to do well, and we lost. I think my second year we lost first round at the team tournament,
right?
And I didn't make individuals either or doubles. So, those were goals of mine individually, and I didn't make them, and that was a tough time. First 2 years were very tough.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I look back, I did 4 years at Wisconsin, and I kind of piecemeal the NCAA. 1 year I made it in singles. 1 year I made it in doubles.
Yeah.
1 year the team made it. You know what I mean? It's a tough tournament to get in, man.
Yeah.
Especially when you're new,
Exactly.
Really new. So you come out of Michigan, right? How old are you at Michigan? You come out at what?
21.
21.
21, yeah.
21. And then, did I read right? Did you just go for a job, right?
I did, yeah.
This is a great story. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so before college, my initial goal was to go for 1 or 2 years and turn pro. That was the goal, to try and get physically ready and mature, and that was the goal. And first 2 years didn't go as planned, so I went for a third. And after my third year, which I did better results-wise, and I just lost some interest, or maybe I didn't feel like professional tennis was there for me after college. So
2 years, what are you banging around on, futures?
2 years.
After college?
After college, yeah.
2 years you're banging around on the futures.
Yeah.
That's tough. Then go ahead.
So after I finished my junior year in college, back up a little bit.
Yeah,
After freshman year in college, I did an internship back here in Torrance at an oil company called Tower Energy.
Where are they? I lived here my whole life. I don't even know where Tower Energy is.
They're on 190th, and I think it's Western, so it's close to the 405 freeway.
Gotcha.
And
is that big, where all the refineries?
It used to be next to Toyota.
Okay.
Yeah, when Toyota was still here.
Yeah, okay.
And there was a member here, and really nice guy, and he said, you know what, if you want to do an internship and see what the job world is like, come on over, and that's what I did after my freshman year.
Right.
And he said, if you want to take a job when you're finished with college, it's also fine with me. So after my junior year, that summer I decided that I wasn't going to play professional after college. So I was looking.
It's a big decision.
Yeah. I was looking into other jobs. They had.
So your junior year in college, you're thinking,
yeah,
I'm not going to play pro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that fall of my senior year, there's job fairs at Michigan on campus, and I'm, going to these job fairs and talking to recruits, and I was trying to get this consulting job in Chicago, but ultimately, I decided to take this job at Tower Energy. It was in Torrance. I could stay at home and save some money. So that's what I decided to do. And when I graduated, I gave myself about 3 weeks. Actually, one of my friends they had a house in Mackinac Island, which is in Michigan, where it's like a summer place where there's no cars, just horses and bikes. And I was there renting out bikes. And
you were up in the UP renting out bikes.
Renting out bikes for this hotel called the Grand Hotel, and teaching just a few lessons. So that was my 3 weeks.
How's the courts at that hotel, by the way?
They're okay.
Are they clay?
They are clay.
Are they green?
They are green.
They're green clay.
Yeah.
Okay. At the what's it called again? The
Mackinac Island.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
So it was another work experience, I guess, renting out bikes and chasing people down, not bringing their bikes back after we closed. So it was.
This is after your junior year, or
when I graduated.
All right.
And that summer,
so you take the University of Michigan degree, which is what? What did you get it in? I forgot.
I got a political science degree.
Off to Mackinac with your political science.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I got home, I took the job. I started working in, I think it was end of June, something like that.
Yeah.
And my second day on the job, there was my boss said, everyone come to the meeting room, and it's like very somber, and they said we're announcing layoffs. And I was like, geez, my second day, I don't even know what I'm doing here yet, and so for sure I know I'm going to go. And, a week later, it's like, you're going to be done at the end of the month. So end of July, you'll be done. And at that point, you're just sitting there and like, okay, like, what do I do now?
Right.
So one of my buddies told me about this money tournament in Seattle. They have those money tournaments in the summer.
Washington Open, right?
Washington Open, yeah.
They have like 25,000 or something.
Yeah,
like,
so I
total
think,
prize money there. Yeah.
I think the winner gets 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
And went up there, and my buddy who told me about this tournament. We have a friend in Seattle as well, so we just went to go visit him and play the tournament. And I won really easy. It wasn't like the first match was a little bit difficult.
You won
but
that tournament, huh?
Yeah, I won the tournament.
That's a great tournament.
But the fact that I won it easy was kind of like, what's going on here? And like, should I maybe go pro? I mean, my coaches at Michigan were telling me to go pro, and I had all these people telling me, maybe you should try and play pro, and so I thought about it some more, and I was like, okay, do I really want to do this? And I actually decided to study for my LSATs first. So I wanted to have plan B, like take my LSATs and then, okay, let's go play pro. And I played my first future in November, end of November in India, thinking that it was going to be easier because I had no points, nothing, so I had to start from qualifying at the future level.
That's tough, man.
And
that's tough.
That's where
future qualifying in India.
That's where my journey started.
Wow, man. How'd that go? Say that year, that first year, how did that go? By the way, things are meant to happen, aren't they? I mean, the whole work thing turned out to be a blessing in disguise, didn't it?
Yeah, it's funny sitting 10 years later. It's just crazy how...
Fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there you go. You go off to your rookie year playing qualies. Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah, really tough, actually. If anyone's been to India, the place is... India gets a bad rap for... people always say you'll get diarrhea or stomach problems, and it is true that you need to watch out for some foods, but obviously it's hard to watch out for everything. And but I think the hardest part was just trying to. I had no idea what I was doing as a pro. I had no experience. Obviously, college tennis provides a foundation for you at the pro level, but it also is different, like in terms of if you don't have if you're doing it on your own, you kind of have to figure out everything for yourself, managing your schedule and buying these flights and traveling to here and training and finding people to practice with and all that stuff. And I qualified for... I was there to play 3 tournaments, and I qualified for both weeks. And I lost in the first round in 3 sets both weeks.
Right.
But each week that I was there, I got sick.
Wow.
Yeah, so the first week, I don't even know what kind of sickness that I got, but I just came down with something. And lucky enough, there was a player there, Jivan, who played... He played at Washington, and I knew him from juniors in college, and he lived in the city that I was in, Chennai, and he took care of me, and I went to the hospital. It was good the first week, but then second week I came down with something as well, and I was really feeling bad at the time, and traveled to the third week, a different city in I think it was New Delhi.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't do it. I'm too tired, like something was wrong. So I flew home, and took me about a couple weeks to recover. So that was my first experience.
Nice. Sickness.
Yeah.
It's India's sickness.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about the qualies at the future level. That's just brutal, isn't it?
It's brutal because I don't know how it is now, but you don't have any linesmen or umpires or refs, that kind of thing, and no ball boys, nothing, and so you could get guys. It could be like you were playing in the juniors, but guys can be a little bit trickier once they're older. They may change the score on you. They may call certain balls out, and it'll get under your skin.
Yeah.
And it's
the real deal, man.
Yeah.
I
don't think too many people... Well, people who have played at that level can relate with me, but it is not easy.
The other thing is at the future level that I don't... It's your last hurrah. You know what I mean? If you're not cutting it on the futures level, it's over, isn't it? So there's this urgency to the future level. I guess for all pro tennis, but when you're coming out of college, and that's why I think future tennis is just so hardcore. Everyone's just they're playing for their lives.
Yeah, it's just not enough money there, and
well said.
A lot of people want to have the dream, but there's just not enough sustainability for it.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, it's tough out there. So, when does it start moving for you in the futures? Are you playing? You said you're playing futures almost 2 years.
Futures primarily the first year, and second year I started playing a couple of challengers.
Nice.
So I got my first point in Mexico, which was India. I played 2 tournaments. Then I went to China, and I didn't get points for 2 weeks. And then my 5th tournament, I got points in Mexico. So I made a quarterfinals, got 3 points, and I was like, okay, I finally got that under my belt. And I was like, this is going to be easier. And I didn't get another point for 4 months. So I was like, geez, what's going on? And turned it around in the summer. I won a futures in Illinois. I think it was Godfrey, Illinois.
Right. Is that your first futures?
Yeah, futures win,
Yeah,
futures
nice.
title.
Nice.
Yeah, and that year ended up.
That's got to be a good feeling, huh?
Yeah, it was. Just from the start, it was a tough start going to all these different countries. I was in where did I go? I mean, India, China, Venezuela. I went to Venezuela, which was, right now it's not doing so well, but at the time it was a little bit better.
Right.
Went to Spain. Just a lot of different places, and that year ended up being okay. I finished the year, I think, at 500 something. So, I mean, a respectable year for being out on my own.
There you go. Yeah, you take out. This is in 2012. 2012, July of 2012. You win Godfrey. You take out Cesar Ramirez.
Yes.
In 3 tough sets, buddy. 3 tough sets. 6-2 in the third. There's your first title.
Yeah.
You're underway.
Yeah.
Wild. So now, by the way, nice win in 2015 over Darian King to win in where? Little Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone beats Darian King. I swear to God, he looks, he's so good.
Yeah.
Gets
the all balls back.
Man, win there. You win in China. Let's start talking about Asia here a little. Do you need a break or anything? You okay?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
How does maybe I'm jumping to it too quick. I mean, so you want to move through your ATP through the Challenger a little bit more before we go over to Asia?
Yeah, sure. I mean, after my first year, I started incorporating some challengers because my ranking was good enough where I could play some of the ATP Challenger qualifying. At the time, the system was a little bit different. For qualifying, it would start on a Saturday, and you would go on a Friday and sign in. And actually, you wouldn't know if you got in until Friday night. That was the system back then.
Right.
So it was kind of a crapshoot. I mean, one tournament might be super hard, and you might not even get in. So there's no safety net right there, knowing that you're going to play in a tournament.
And I always think about that too, where you're like, okay, you don't get in, you got another week where you're not playing.
Right.
You're not making any cash. You're not moving forward.
Yeah.
And you just got to move on to the next one and sign in again.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the Challenger level.
At the Challenger level.
Yeah, at that time. And so, obviously, I couldn't play too many because my ranking was okay to get into qualies, but, some weeks I might not get in. So, the safe way is to go play in the futures. But if you play too many futures, then, your level and your mindset kind of gets stuck at that level where you're not seeing the improvement in guys. So I tried to incorporate more challengers my second year, and I'm not sure what my ranking ended up after the second year, but every year improved, and I think by the third year I started playing primarily challengers.
Nice. That's tough too, man.
Yeah.
It's not like it gets any easier.
Yeah.
So you're probably what in the Challengers? You're 4, 5?
3. Yeah, about 24, 25.
24, 25. And then when do you start representing Chinese Taipei? And we didn't establish your parents. Tell our listeners a little about your parents.
Yeah, so Chinese Taipei is Taiwan. It's officially under international competition as Chinese Taipei, but it is Taiwan. And my parents immigrated from Taiwan, so that's where my ethnicity comes from. And I think it was 2014. So I started playing in Asia quite a bit in 2013. There was a lot of tournaments starting to pop up over there, and I thought it was a good opportunity to get some different opponents. I mean, you play in the U.S., it can be a little bit tougher sometimes. You playing against a lot of same people that you knew or who played in college as well. So 2013, played a lot in Asia, and a lot of the Taiwanese players, I knew them, especially when I played as a junior. So I played some ITFs.
Yeah.
And some of them were saying, why don't you play for Taiwan?
Thank you for listening to Radio Tennis, the podcast. Please thumbs up and subscribe. Also, check out the streaming broadcast site at radiotennis.com for great live tennis presented by Ken. All the streaming broadcasts are free, no sign-up required. New sessions are being added all the time, and there is a full archive for listening to great tennis events from the past on demand. Radio Tennis is the best free streaming service for tennis, hands down. From everyone at Radio Tennis, have a great day, and we will see you at our next podcast or live stream.